Ever been discouraged? Ever been depressed? Philippians in chapter 1, commencing to read at verse number 12. But I would have you understand, brethren, the things which have happened unto me have fallen out rather unto the furtherance of the gospel, so that my bonds in Christ are manifest in all the palace, and in all other places, and many of the brethren in the Lord, waxing confident by my bonds, are much more bold to speak the word without fear. Some indeed preach Christ even of envy and strife, and some also of goodwill. The one preach Christ of contention, not sincerely, supposing to add affliction to my bonds, but the other of love, knowing that I am set for the defense of the gospel. Notwithstanding, every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is preached, and I therein do rejoice, yea, and will rejoice. For I know that this shall turn to my salvation through your prayer, and the supply of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, according to my earnest expectation and my hope, that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness, as always, so now also, Christ shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or by death. For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. But if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labor, yet what I shall choose I wot or know not. For I am in a strait betwixt two, having a desire to depart and to be with Christ, which is very far better. Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you. And having this confidence, I know I shall abide and continue with you all for your furtherance and joy of faith, that your rejoicing may be more abundant in Christ Jesus for me by my coming to you again. Ever been discouraged? Ever been depressed? Ever felt like the Christians let you down? Ever feel as though Christians don't appreciate what you're doing? Ever feel as though Christians are actually against you? And there's someone that's trying to marginalize your usefulness, someone trying to hinder your usefulness, someone trying to undermine you? Ever been there? That's Philippians chapter 1. So let me just give you 3 subjects or 3 points that we are going to look at. Circumstances and their danger, crisis and its dilemma, choices and his decision. Now, what do we mean by circumstances and their danger? I want you to think of the chains which limited Paul. There were chains that were limiting him. God at times allows circumstances which limit us in our own thinking. God is not limiting us, but we think we're being limited. For some it might mean I'm single rather than married, and if I were married, how much more I could serve the Lord. For some it might mean if I were in a different job, and if I were more eloquent, and if I had greater boldness, and if I looked differently, and if I didn't get so nervous, and if I just were made differently, I could serve the Lord. But I am so limited by what God has brought into my life. Let me talk very practically. For some it's age. Age can limit. You can't do at 85 what you did at 25. For some, it may not be age, it may be illness that limits, and physical incapability. And it feels like it is such a limitation, so restrictive. Paul was in chains. The work of the gospel needed him so desperately, we would say. Fledgling assemblies, and assemblies that were failing, and assemblies that were faltering, and the work of God in general, and young men that he had raised up, young men that he was mentoring. There he is, in chains. How's Paul going to react? How's Paul going to adjust to the reality that his days of moving freely are right now at a standstill?